I am now happy to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Sarush Amarya, Managing Director, Tata Capital Financial Services Limited. He has a rich experience of over 24 years with Tata Group, having joined one of its flagship companies, Tata Motors. He has played different roles during his journey, prominent amongst which is a role in treasury team of Tata Motors and his international assignments as head of treasury and business planning at Tata Divo, sorry if I made wrong pronunciation, South Korea. He has a diverse experience across commercial, retail, as well as development and financial planning, which we are going to do today. Also in SME lending business, treasury management, credit assessment, and etc. Today, he will elucidate about financial inclusion as a part of financial literacy and how it will be helpful in turn to our community. We welcome you, Mr. Sarush, and thank you for giving your valuable time to us. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this introduction. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, greetings to Rise Infinity. Thank you, Radha, Ashwin, and all the entire organizing team, and the distinguished guests out here. It's important for us for realizing the significance of financial literacy and gathering here for this discussion. Before we progress towards the primary discussion, it is imperative to align our thoughts on the very definition of financial literacy. When we say financial literacy, I don't mean that people should have large diplomas, degrees, chartered accountancies, MBAs, etc., or any other prominent certification. What in my mind, what I understand is the fundamental understanding around topics which individuals can take informed decisions. I think that's the key about being about financial literacy. As a responsible citizen, I feel sometimes distressed when I was reading some days back about the S&P survey. It was way back it was as late as October 21, saying that only 22% of our population is having has basic financial literacy. But the government impetus and what has come about in this current budget, which was 2 days back, budget 22, gave an immense confidence and a very clear vision for financial inclusion. So I think that's something which gives me hope that India is certainly on the right path on financial literacy, and we will move on to achieve our goal as we go ahead. So coming to the topic for discussion today, Dhan Gyan, the first national strategy for financial education was launched by National Center for Financial Education way back in 2013-14. And as a humble effort to contribute to the pursuit, our team developed the online portal called, as it is popularly known as Dhan Gyan. It's a self-paced learning platform for students from class 8th to 10th, using stories, games, exercises, platform, and these teaching, go in the basic concepts of finance at students at a very young, tender age, get attuned to this kind of understanding and working towards financial literacy. Topics like banking, budgeting, investments, certain areas of stock market, borrowings, loan, all of these, we have, I think, 9 modules here. And the entire module was designed to, to see that the NFLAT, which is National Financial Literacy Assessment Test, organized by the Indian government annually, the modules are aligned to that. So since its inception, we have, I think, onboarded more than 50,000 users, and we really deserve a huge round of applause, and all of you, the entire team out here for Rise Infinity and the Tata Capital team has worked together to see that this moves ahead in the right direction. It's also very heartening to note that FY22, we have witnessed more than 8,000 new users And out of that, 80% of the people are actively using are coming on the portal and using. So that's something which is very, very encouraging. We as a corporate, want to see that we are responsible citizens to ensure that we take this activity very seriously. All of us spend a lot of time in the corporate world to do our own set of activities to in the mad rush of to grow our book, grow our profitability to. But I think it's important that within the Tata Group what we give to the society is also very, very important. I think that's something which is very, very critical, and we want to ensure that we partner with such initiatives to go forward. As JRD, our founder, not our founder, but our longest serving chairman for more than 50 years, used to fondly say that what you give to the society comes back many folds over. I think that's something which is very, very critical for us, and we stand committed to this entire Dhan Gyan program to take this ahead. Um, a few statistics highlights, few things which I want to say is that our content is really well aligned. I've been, spending some time with Radha and Ashwin and Sridhar to understand this. But we need more visibility and a wider reach. I think that's something which what we should ensure. We need to reach out to more, NGOs or more uh, such organizations which will take us to the next level. And I think that should be the key challenge and what you should be trying to do, discuss and work out as you debate today the entire day. Um, Also, we do, as in the words of Helen Keller, they say, "Alone we do so little; together we can do much." So we need to come together to see that we reach out to more and more students to ensure that India moves to this path on financial literacy. Um, I again emphasize that we must synergize, utilize the immense reach and network of every individual, out here on this group, every organization present out here. We have collaborated with RISE, which is a trusted name among the NGOs, and we're making good amount of progress towards the advancement of society through inclusive education, health, and nutrition. I hope in the subsequent panel discussions you will envisage a clear roadmap and how, more importantly, the execution. I think that's something which is very clear. Often, there are plans, strategy, and there are discussions around it, but the execution remains a challenge at points of time. So I would urge that we take up the ownership to execute things well. Often, good ideas get implemented only when the execution is thoroughly taken care of. Wishing you all the best. Thank you for inviting me here. Um, uh, 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 Take care of yourselves. It's a difficult time right now. Hopefully, people are coming back again. But take care of yourselves, your families, and your loved ones, and all the very best. And congratulations again. And looking forward for more participation going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sarush, for bringing out a defined perspective about Dhangan, as well as moving together the unity towards achieving our aim to make this nation financial literate. Moving forward, now it's time to have a discussion with our esteemed experts that we all are waiting for this roundtable. Would like to invite our own Karen Shaiva, Chief Impact Officer and MD of IDUBRO Impact Solutions and Managing Trustee for Rise Infinity Foundation. Importantly, the quality that I admire from her is that she's an avid learner. And now she's a driving force for all of us and behind this summit too. We also have Hamida, which is our another co-moderator. She's a risk and regulatory advisor to global banks. Hamida has many years of financial industry experience, and she can connect aspects of complex organization internally and externally to solve business challenges. And she is going to be our influential communicator today. I welcome Hamida and Karen to take this platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Sarosh, firstly, for setting that tone so well in terms of what is the need going forward, what is the main challenge, because that is the starting point of everything that happens at the Rise World Summit, that we want to really address challenges before we even, realize where we come to in terms of the execution. But at the same time, execution being so key to ensuring that we just don't talk about challenges, but make things happen. Um, and thank you, Dipali, for also setting the stage for Hamida and me to take this conversation forward. I'm so pleased that Hamida could join us. She's based in the US, but we had a very lucky chance that she was here and offered to be a part of this as well. Um, this is the first roundtable at the Rise World Summit. And for me personally, that is just so gratifying to believe that we are kicking this off with such great partners as Tata Capital and the Swedish Institute Alumni Network in India, and of course supported by Swedish Institute, of which I myself am an alumni, and so is Radha. We of course have with us some amazing people over here, and as I said in the opening plenary, if many of you were there, it is a co-created summit because every person, a speaker, a participant at the summit, you will at some point or the other be the key person that people will be listening to, because that's exactly how the facilities and the features of the portal are. So I hope you have a great summit. And to get started with our first roundtable, it is absolutely my pleasure to introduce all the panelists. I'm sorry, we don't use the word panelists. See, this is what happens when you have words and technologies that is just ingrained in your head, right? The experts at our roundtable, because that's the kind of format we have over here. Very open, very inclusive, very participatory, non-hierarchical. Yeah, we I don't know how many of you all have ever attended in the physical world when we have a very large number of participants at a round table. We generally do an inner circle and then an outer circle. I hope many of you have ever seen that. Raise your hands. It's always great to have interaction, and especially in the virtual world, it's so difficult. So please use the chat box. Please keep them going, because that's the only way to keep that excitement and energy in the room flowing, right? So that's exactly the way we are also doing it, where we have the inner circle that will be there of the experts, the special guests who are already, kind of in know of the whole topic. But then we also have an outer circle, right? While the technology calls it panelists and attendees, for us, that's not it. Don't worry about it. RISE is all about innovation. And we don't have to go by labels that people put for us, but the labels that we ourselves see ourselves in, right? And so we have the inner circle and then the outer circle. And so those who are in the outer circle, please feel free to use the chat box, put your information, put your questions, put your thoughts over there, because based on that, we will try our best to bring you into the conversation and allow you to speak from there as well, or even kind of, update you to bring you into the inner circle as a panelist. So use the chat box effectively and let us know what you would like to talk about, right? So again, very quickly to get started, we don't do too much of introductions, because what happens, too much time goes in that, and we really want to use every minute of these 2 hours to really get down into what means the most, what will have impact the most. And I think that is going to be discussing these three major things, which is the format that the Rise World Summit follows, which is talking about challenges, talking about the capabilities, and then finally talking about collaboration, right? Because that's the only way we move to, as Mr. Sarosh said, execution. We have to find a way forward. This is not just about feeling good and say, oh, let's talk, right? So I'm also going to stop talking very quickly. I promise you. I know you must be thinking, oh my God, when is she going to stop talking? So I'm going to do that really, really quickly, yeah, because Hamida is going to set the tone for the technical aspect of the roundtable. I'm just here to facilitate and help make sure that we keep moving along, right? So very quickly, before I hand it over to you, Hamida, I just want to say thank you to all the experts, and I will read them out. But what I would request, because we do have quite a large number, if you could please put your introductions in the chat box, that would be really amazing, because it will help us to quickly get everybody to know more about you, but also in the process, kind of understand the feeling, because we have a wide range. I mean, diversity is the theme this year, and that's always the case in all our roundtables, from trainers to NGOs to consultants to financial wizards, I would say, to everybody who has anything to do with the financial world. And as far as we talk about the SDGs, because again, the roundtable, I mean, the summit is about the SDGs, finance is cross-cutting, right? Finance definitely affects every single SDG. And so therefore, how critical is this? How important is this topic for all of us in whichever capacity we are here in, personal, professional, passionate, or otherwise? Yeah. So with that, very quickly, Hamida, may I please hand it over to you to maybe set some context in terms of what are the kind of topics and issues we are going to discuss, and then of course come back again very quickly to the experts.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you very much. It's my honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me. This is a great summit. It has the right future perspective in mind. We are all working towards community. So I want to add another C to challenges, collaboration, and capabilities. We are also going to talk about communities. So let's think about every aspect of the community, from the young to the old, from the different genders and whatever aspects of the different community we are looking at. But for the participants, this is a great panel. I'm sorry, not panel. This is a great set of speakers here. If you have seen their names and what they are all about and where they are coming from, you'll know this is an esteemed lot. So I am assuming and I know that we're going to get a lot out of this. So let's just get going, right? Please, like Karen said, put in your introductions into the chat box. If you have any Q&A, please do not put it in the chat box. Put it in the Q&A section, because everyone's going to be chatting in the chat box. So we will not be able to differentiate between the questions and the chat. So put in your questions in the Q&A and we will make sure that we get them answered. Let's start this conversation by talking about the challenges. I think that will set the premise on everything else that we need to build up on. We have time to talk about the challenges. What can we do about the challenges? What should we do about the challenges? I want to suggest that let's not talk about we used to do that. We always did that. That is something we want to leave behind, because if what we always used to do is working, then we didn't need to have this summit. So there is something more that we all need to do besides what we are already doing. So let's talk about the present, the future. And so I'm throwing this out to the speakers. Let's start setting the tone with the challenges so that we can build up on it for this roundtable. So whoever wants to go first, please go ahead.
Right. I just want to maybe start with the one that Sarush spoke about, and just put that as the first one to talk about, is creating awareness about financial literacy, right? I think that is one of the biggest problems that we have in the first place, because while digital literacy seems to be something that, of course, a lot of attention is required and is being given, financial literacy is taken almost as a given that, oh, we know about money. I mean, who doesn't know about money, right? Everybody assumes that. Even a child knows about money. But financial literate person and knowing about money are two very, very different things. We had a roundtable just before this as a pre-event activity for the specific topic. And, it was simply amazing how we got to hear about what does financial literacy really mean, and what it can, and what it can actually have as an outcome if you make it happen. So I'm not going to get into those outcomes right now, but I think right from the point, what do we mean by financial literacy? What do you mean by creating awareness about financial literacy? And who are the people who really need financial literacy? So if there are some more challenges along these lines, please let's first talk about those and put them on the table so that we can keep moving ahead based on that further. Yeah. And so I think to kind of get started with that, may I ask Misreen to come in and just say, what she thinks on the challenges bit, please. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Karen. It was really lovely to be a part of this, roundtable today. So basically, financial literacy, in my at least 2.5 decades of experience, has been, most of us Indians think that investment options are real estate or gold, because those are the traditional investments that we have been used to for savings. And they're not really investments. Real estate, for example, would not be liquid, and gold also is more a hedging instrument. So when we look at options, this is what comes to our mind first and foremost. And to continue with what Mr. Sarush said, is that 76% of us basically lack on financial literacy. Now, even if we compare with the rest of the world or even with Asia, for example, risk diversification. So we understand only 50% of what the rest of the world understands in terms of, how should we diversify our risk? What are the different assets allocation that we should be doing, in order to make sure that you're not dependent on only one particular life cycle of any particular asset. Another topic that we are quite dismal about, but equal to the rest of the world, is basically on inflation, interest, and compound interest. So on these three topics, again, continuing with what the Standard and Poor, report that Mr. Sarosh referred to, is that we are more or less on par with either with the Asian countries or the rest of the world in terms of financial literacy. But, there is a 60% variance between the most financially literate state in India to the least financial literate state, due to, financial knowledge, behavior, attitudes. So this is the reason, based on also, age, employment opportunities, even the location, whether you're rural or urban. So these are some of the factors which basically have a relation to the fact that you are financially literate to a certain level, that you are capable of even deciphering or understanding the simple difference between debt and equity, because that's what we are typically used to, a fixed deposit or direct stocks.
Right.
So I'll hand it over to one of the other
Yeah.
speakers, what they'd like to discuss, where the challenges go, and then add on what I feel about the execution
Absolutely,
part.
absolutely. So as Hamida said, we're really talking about it from a community perspective, and so I would really want to say that while we are talking about how it affects the general public, maybe we need to also look at how it goes for people who really get left behind or who are not at all exposed to these kind of instruments at a very basic level. Let's take youth for that matter. So financial literacy again is cross-cutting and across multiple factors, as you clearly mentioned over here. Yeah, hi Kanchan, please come in. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi Karen. Let me share how excited I am to be a part of Rise World Summit, and it's wonderful. The kickoff was just amazing to hear, right from you, Elizabeth, Mr. Vineet Patni, and others. It's a fabulous inauguration today, and very happy to be part of the first session, which talks about such an important topic such as financial literacy. It's very close to my heart also because just to let people know, I'm Kanchan. I'm the founder of Loan Genie, which is a lending fintech, and we are solving for the problem of providing access to financial capital to people who have low or no credit scores. So these could even be people residing in tier 2, tier 3 cities, or could be in rural parts of India as well. And as I have been working in this particular area for some time now, what I realized is that even in cities, even metros, there seems to be this lack of financial understanding about how do you manage the money that you earn, because I mostly deal with salaried people as of now. But of course, the vision is financial inclusion even of the people who are underprivileged. So so just rightly pointed out by Mr. Sarosh also in the beginning, is that there seems to be this real need for collaboration, because we have wonderful intent by a lot of people, a lot of organizations. They want financial literacy to basically figure in the lives of various segments of people, but somehow there is this lack between I'm definite that policies are also around, but there's there seems to be this gap between the policy which is existing to how it is being implemented and or interpreted at a field level, because of which just now I think the other speaker also mentioned that there seems to be some 76% of the people who are not financially literate, and which is obviously a cause for great concern. Other thing I was also looking at was, besides the need for collaboration, was also looking at the greater thrust on digital going forward, and how will it affect some of the people in rural areas who are not able to, let's say, have access to a device or have access to the network, broadband network and all, which will lead to a digital divide. So we will have digital haves, like people like us. We are, I guess, we are the privileged lot. We have access to great networks in cities and all. But what about the people who don't either have devices or don't even have good networks? So my concern was that this will leave such people behind. Also, if we can not only have these programs in English and Hindi, because not all of the population speaks English and Hindi, but could we also go regional? Was another thought. Obviously, many have it's not a kind of a rocket science, but we need to be local. We need to be talking about financial literacy in local languages. And so the recent step by the government, when in the budget, the honorable finance minister announced the 200 channels which are going to be there in local languages. One, I'm not gone through the whole proposal as such, but one proposal was that instead of everybody working in these silos, can we work with especially the policymakers or the people who are implementing such channels? If there are 200 channels, I'm sure there can be some focus on financial literacy. And can we use the existing channels or the proposed channels to also ensure that people become financially literate? So, and similarly, there is the very important initiative by Niti Aayog, which is the mentor of change. By the way, I'm a mentor of change at Oxford Senior Secondary School in Bangalore. So I have been working with schools in some capacity. But what I feel is that there seems to be this infrastructure there. So can somehow, the exposure to financial literacy, let's say even through Niti Aayog's Atal Innovation Mission, because they're talking about startups today, but in order for a startup to be successful, you can definitely have classes around financial literacy. So can we target these very key channels, let's say Atal Innovation Mission, or can we target a proposed 200 channels? So can we somehow reach it across to policymakers and ensure that the voice reaches across to a lot of the people? And this way, Karen, I feel that we'll be syncing, or we'll be collaborating more than saying that I know what to do and I'm going to do my own thing.
Absolutely. I think you're so spot on, Kanchan, that at the end of the day, it's not that we have all the answers, and we have to find the collaboration with various kind of channels to be able to go. But I think what you brought out very clearly from a challenge point of view, which I think is so huge, is language, right? Most of the programs, most of the activities that we do is in English more often than not. And so therefore, it becomes very, very difficult to think. So I do want to say this, that Dangyan program is available in Hindi as well. So, that is at least one starting point to make sure that is one barrier. But it is a huge barrier, and thank you for bringing it up. Absolutely. So
there is also something else that Kanchan said, that again, I'm also obviously from the US, and so trying to bring in a little bit of that perspective as to what we've done about this. I heard Kanchan talk about the infrastructure of schools already being there. Let's utilize that infrastructure, right? So in the US, there is this program called the Junior Achievement Program. And in there, it is us, the financial executives, or people who are already in the financial world, who are working there, who know finance so well, actually go to the lower income schools, and we teach them the basics: saving versus spending, needs versus wants. This is our volunteering time to them, and we start them from grade 6. So just putting it out there that these are programs that we can actually think about.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. May I bring in Kamal? Kathy, I'll just come to you in just a second. Kamal, would you like to come in, and then Radha next with you? Yeah?
Sure.
Please, go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I just want to request everybody, we want to give as many people a chance to kind of speak. So if we can be as concise as possible, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk a little bit more as we move along. Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Over to you. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So in fact, our life changed because of a challenge in the financial literacy aspect. I was working in a company, and I used to see one thing, that people, whether they are earning a few thousand rupees per month or maybe a few lakh rupees per month, all of them had the same kind of challenge. And that challenge was whenever they were told to leave, they would come up with questions like, how would I pay my EMI? How would I pay the fees of my child? How would I pay for the medical expenses of my parents? And I used to wonder that, a person who is earning 10,000 rupees, if he has a challenge, I can understand. But a person who is earning 2 lakh rupees, he should be having 1.9 lakh rupees extra. Why should that person have this problem? Okay. And because of that, so after working for 18 years in corporate, we decided to, get into this domain, which is called a financial literacy domain. And in fact, the person Mehanosh who referred me for this, even he was working in the same company, and we both had a very good designation over there, a very good fat package, and from there we started again. We started from zero. So we were the two idiots, you can say, who decided to follow a passion, leaving a very good profession. And now with this passion, now this has also become our profession, wherein we are able to educate. And the challenge which we have seen is, one is people are not even aware that they need a financial knowledge. People are not even aware that where is the source of that financial literacy, because they consider their friends, or maybe they consider the TV, the analyst on the TV channels as the expert in that area. And sometimes, they are not even aware that a chartered accountant, only a chartered accountant, is an expert in company finance. But when it comes to personal finance, it's a different area. So only the CAs who have actually learned about personal finance, they can share with you, not all CAs. So these are the things, which I have seen as a challenge in the financial literacy. And if we can at least, first help people understand that they need to know this, from there we can start and we can actually educate them on financial literacy. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. I think you brought out a very, very important point to say that sudden life incidents can lead to very stressful financial situations. And we see that time and time again, and especially now with the pandemic as a backdrop, it is absolutely, we have seen that so many times where people have struggled, and obviously the less resources you have in terms of savings, etc., which is almost impossible for people who are on daily wage, people who are in low resource communities. Imagine how do they even manage when they have faced a situation like a lockdown or health situations, etc. I'm going to quickly bring in one of our special guests, which is Ms. Radha Sule, who's the head of the CSR and sustainability at Tata Capital, to quickly come in and share a few words as well over here. Please, Radha, over to you.
So Karen, actually, I just wanted to address one point about Dhanyan in regional languages. So we are actually actively seeking collaborations to translate Dhanyan into all the regional languages if possible. And if there is anyone in this forum who is interested in collaborating with us, this is all about collaboration.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it is entirely free. So yeah, I look forward to finding partners for collaborations and having it reach right down to the remotest area of the country. So yeah.
Great. Thank
Yeah.
you very much, Radha. That sounds absolutely like an offer of great interest for us to take forward, this conversation where we can partner with people in a particular way. One of which is, of course, language. And the other, as Kanchan and Hamida also pointed out, in terms of infrastructure that is there. As we talk about the challenges, we will talk about the capabilities and then the collaboration. So please keep that coming in, folks. Very happy to have that. And also please post it in the chat box as you keep thinking. Yes, Kathy, over to you, please.
Yes, hi. So first and foremost, Karen, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to be a part of this yearly conference. It's really nice. And I have attended your physical conferences also. So I know how it is. Well, without taking much time, talking about the challenges, but I mean, out of my experience of meeting so many people over last one and a half decades, I feel every strata of the society has a different challenge when it comes to financial literacy. Like when I talk about a very low income group, they don't even know that yes, how to save and what are the avenues to save. Like I have addressed a group of domestic helpers across Mumbai, and the way they save, I mean, whatever little money that they're saving, what they do is they just bundle it up and keep it in some dabba in their kitchen, because they don't even know that there are so many government schemes which are there at a very, very subsidized rate, which they can opt for and protect their family against things like medical emergencies, sudden deaths, etc. So, they don't have access to that information. Whereas when I talk about a middle income group, they don't need that level of information. However, the basic concepts like how to use power of compounding, the difference between saving and investments, they are not aware of things like this. Like, if the interest rates have gone lower, you need to go to the bank and get your interest rates reduced. So even the basic concepts like this. Now, lower strata of the society would not need that information, but when I talk about the middle level, they need this kind of information because they are dealing with these challenges. So I think what is very important is, that is one challenge. Like they don't really know whom to approach a particular section of a society. So if we, as a community, if we can do that, okay, these are the challenges and this is the group that you fall into. So this is a level 1, level 2, level 3. And when you talk about a higher strata of the society, they anyways have access to this information. They are technically very savvy where they can go on, get people to help them. They can use technology to get this information. So it's very easy for them. So I feel there is a different level of challenges which everybody, every strata of the society is facing. And as a community, it is important for us to start addressing that through a different, probably financial boot camps. Like we do a lot of financial boot camps for a corporate, with a 4-hour, 5-hour session where we teach them how to apply these financial concepts to your own life.
Absolutely.
So I think that is also something which, if we can address, it will make a lot of difference.
Absolutely, Kathy. And I think, what you really pointed out over there is that the awareness of even the basics of banking, I think, is lacking in most places. It's in so, what should I say? And may I raise my hand and say I'm one of those? I honestly say that, I definitely don't think I'm totally financially literate. And in spite of the fact that I have studied finance and, so many other things, but there's so many things that are there. And we need regular refresher programs. We need regular kind of, touch for people to be able to go. And that's where the Dangyan being a, online course being available on demand, allows the students, allows women, allows different people to be able to access them as and when they need, because that constant updation of information and knowledge and refresher also becomes very important. So Kathy, thank you for pointing that out. I think that was amazing. Yeah.
And one thing, Karen, I want to add about Kathy is, Kathy, thank you for bringing it down to the basics. Your analogy about you're putting their money in the rice ka dabba is real, right? So let's talk about these real examples. If anyone has real stories, real examples, let's move from general to really, actual things that are happening. I can just quickly tell you about my maid, who, when she needs money, goes out and gets money. She'll get 100 rupees and say, give me 100 rupees now, I'll give you 200 next month. they don't know the concept. They know at now I need the 100 rupees. I don't care how much I have to pay you afterwards, right? So that is real. These are the people who need the financial literacy.
Absolutely. Thanks, Hamida, for bringing that out as well. And we see this all the time, right? And you're absolutely right, Hamida. At the end of the day, we ourselves are surrounded by people who need our support. Our drivers, our maids, our watchmen. I mean, they're all right there in front of us. Even if each one of us took one person, and help them understand the value of financial literacy, I think that in itself would be like a great achievement and a difference, real impact that we are making in somebody's life. And of course, recommend Dhanyan. Yeah. So, Dr. Peer, yes, please, over to you.
Thank you very much for having me. Am I audible?
Yes, absolutely. Please go ahead.
Okay. Okay. A couple of things I wanted to mention, as Hamida talked about, especially about talking about the communities, at level. When I was looking at the topic, for me, I thought, how can one empower communities through collaborations in terms about the financial literacy? When we go at the grassroots level and look at the speaker before me rightly talked about those who are privileged ones, they may not need probably the financial literacy, though I somehow believe most of us need. I have been actually in the head of the department in the government, still I need some advice on different things and related to finances. But we may not get exploited the way people at the underprivileged people get exploited, be it women at the grassroots level or people in the rural areas, other areas, in urban areas as well. So such as in that case, the role of communities, when I say community, it includes self-help groups, it could include panchayats, it could include NGOs, it could include small schools, in terms of inculcating financial literacy among themselves and to the people they work with is very important. So this we have seen, especially the role of these communities recently in COVID times. When everything got shut, these communities came together, they produced masks, they helped people with the food, they helped people with the shelter. But what was lacking at that time, what we realized, in order to scale these initiatives, they would need some sort of financial literacy. While we found the, as I say, importance of these community level institutions because their strengths, but we also found the weaknesses in the form of they would need some sort of digital and financial literacy, which is critical for scaling up these initiatives. So, especially when we see most of the people in the rural area, I'm sorry to say not most, but some people in the rural areas, or especially the marginalized people, are still getting exploited on the hands of the money lenders, or they don't know the 100 rupees or 200 rupees, which earlier speaker said how to use it and what to do with it and how to earn it. That's very important for this purpose. So are we the only ones talking about it? There are already many NGOs, initiatives, government institutions who are taking care of it, right? For example, there is an initiative like in Bangalore, there's an NGO Buzz Women, they are working with women, and then there are hand rises, they are also making awareness about the financial literacy. Likewise, government has you have that Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, and there are other yojanas government has started. In fact, we have now this last 2020, what we came out was National Literacy for Financial Education. That was started from like 2020 to 2025. I would like to highlight the three things in national literacy for financial education, which is very important, and this discussion could revolve around that. Many times we think the discussions which we had, they have not been addressed, although they have been addressed, we kind of have to revolve around the schemes and the programs which government has started already and kind of reinforce them or collaborate with them. So for example, like there is a dimension once, it is targeting children, vulnerable people, then senior citizens, though they have forgot to mention the women, which is mostly vulnerable section. And second, in the geographies, which we say the rural areas, urban areas, especially now Niti Aayog has come up with these aspirational districts. Aspirational districts are mostly those who are underprivileged districts and probably the hilly areas where one needs to work on. Then also MSMEs and other people. In my earlier avatar, when I was a CEO and mission director of skill development, we used to train a lot of people in different skilling, including the financial literacy. Yet, what we need is, in terms of collaboration, which I'll come back into the last point. One would be collaboration at the level of the awareness to the mass awareness to using different mediums. Second could be training, which again, training of CSOs, training of communities, training of panchayats, teachers, and others. And third would be also, which somebody hinted at it earlier, was including financial literacy as part of curriculum. I would go a little further, saying that it should be part of policy planning at each level. Now, as we talk about bottoms-up approach in development planning, we could have this part of the planning at the grassroots level, starting from panchayats and gram sabhas, right? Thank you.
Right. Thank you. I think you brought up very, very critical points, quite a few of them, but not least of which is the focus on vulnerable communities, which is really what the whole idea of Dhangyan also is that. And I think, again, pointing out even within vulnerable communities about women, So I'm so glad you brought up Buzz Women, because Uttara was actually one of our speakers at the pre-event activity that we had done on Dhangyan. And it was amazing the insights that she brought in for us, over here, that just by improving financial literacy, we tend to link it to livelihoods and we think to link it to financial independence, which is of course very important, but it's also about social behavior change, which is quite, which is kind of a multiplier effect on multiple aspects of the lifestyles of the people, not just in their generation, but for generations to come. And as Hamida said, talking about keeping money in a dabba, I mean, it goes far, far beyond that. So I think, thank you very much for bringing up that point. Very, very valid points. And we'll talk more, of course, about collaboration a little later. Yes, Tanuj, hi, please do come in. Love to have you, sir.
Hi, everyone. Thanks a lot for this great opportunity and great to hear these thoughts. I've been active in the financial inclusion space for almost about 7 years or so. Engaged with projects in Africa as well as emerging markets in Southeast Asia and India. So a few things that I wanted to, firstly corroborate and then just make a few points from my side, which I will be, it'll be great if people can talk about it and maybe we as a group can come up with some suggestions and way forward. The first is with experience, and this is not just in the financial inclusion space. I mean, what is true, and I think a couple of speakers have already talked about, is that financial literacy cuts across income and demographic barriers. So even within the family, I mean, I would have cousins and I have my own brother as well, who not, what would be smart about, would be called smart about money. Don't save enough, don't know where to invest, don't know what products to pick. And even though there are a lot of digital applications as well as, a lot of advertising around investing in mutual funds and those kind of campaigns, are still hesitant, to set aside some amount of money towards those kind of activities. So the point is really that having worked with people across, both across in the lower income society as well as, knowledge around people that are in my immediate circle, I can really, bring out that point that financial literacy is across income profile. It's not just the poor that are not able to manage money or plan for their money effectively. The second thing comes through from my, previous avatar, which is running Pinlo, which is trying to digitize savings flow. So the point that I would like to make out here is that, we, I mean, all of us probably are from an urban setting, right? So our understanding of financial inclusion, the reality on the ground may still, maybe slightly removed from what the truth is. And what the point that I would like to make is that particularly in the low and middle income groups, in urban, semi-urban as well as the rural setting, the concept of money and concept of money management is very different to what what we in kind of the educated lot would think about. All right, so their concepts of savings, I know we talked about money in different boxes, etc. But their concept of savings goes beyond the typical financial products that we use, right? So they use unstructured and social and community-based financial products like the committee, the bishi, the chit funds, etc. So it's very important for us when we talk about financial literacy, and particularly talk about financial literacy to people within potentially the lower segment of society. Our education needs to align with their understanding of money to some extent, right? So the intention should be not to just talk about products in kind of the banking terms, but also say this is how you potentially would do it, or you would, these are kind of the keywords or buzzwords that you use when you're using money, and that may potentially drive adoption of formal banking and formal financial products. That I think would be something that I would be really interested to hear more thoughts about. The third piece I wanted to talk about was catch them young, right? So if you talk about money and money management to children or maybe youth, I think that's really the right time, particularly at the time when they are making their first income, right? So can there be strategies? Can there be models in which we can catch them while they're making their first paycheck? So is there a possibility where banks, particularly the large banks where potentially the salary is going to be deposited, can they be people that would drive this financial literacy, right? So and this is not about advertising, right? This is more about content. This is more about creating awareness, which may lead to revenue, which may lead to origination of products for the said bank. But the point is that could you drive the understanding of what money is, right? So great, you're going to make your first paycheck, and potentially you will be you'll now be with money. These are the common mistakes that people make, right? And find themselves at the end, at the age of 24, to be in a credit card debt trap, and unable to pay, to not have savings even at 30. And we talked about these issues that another speaker also raised about, right? So the concept of money, catch them young, and talk to them about these concepts as they kind of start making money, right? The third and then the last piece that I wanted to talk about was the team from Tata Capital has talked about partnerships and has talked about making the tool that they've created, the product that they've created, open to others. I think a great point for them would be that coming from a fintech background, right? I know that there are things that you need as a technology platform that drive engagement and conversation within users, right? So if you look at all different fintechs as well as products that are being built out, there's a heavy dependence, or there is a drive towards driving community and discussions between the users. The primary obviously concept there being active users would obviously use a lot more things, a lot more products, and be better champions of the product, etc. But where I think Dharam Gyan could potentially drive further adoption could be to partner with fintechs and other digital platforms that can use Dharam Gyan as a way in which they can drive communication, collaboration, and awareness. So from a platform and basically the fintech perspective, they get a free free content base. Sorry. So the platform and the fintechs would get a free content that could be used to create awareness. And in the process, obviously, they create engagement on their platform. And from a community and a society perspective, we drive financial literacy and understanding of financial products as a byproduct that happens. So potentially a marriage that could be explored with Tata Capital, with Tata Capital and other fintechs to drive the financial literacy agenda.
Thank you so much, Tanuj. I think you really brought out very critical points across the stratum of challenges, especially for low resource households and communities. I think it's very, very key. And talking about loan sharks, etc. I think these are all very truisms that we are struggling with, and they are struggling with as such. That how we kind of need to do. So I also would, request if our experts could have a look at the Q&A, because there are some questions that are there. Which are there. I have just put a quick answer to acknowledge that we know that their question is up there. But if you look in the answered section, you will also see them there. So if anybody would like to answer those questions, I would be really happy to bring you in terms of that, right? In the meantime, while we look at those Q&As.
Hey, Karen, I actually would like to read out one of the challenges brought out by Tirth Savla, and I think that's a real challenge that we haven't discussed. It says, maybe there are younger people who know about financial literacy and are capable of making better decisions, but don't have the authority in their families. Can we empower them with tools that help them influence their decision makers, or is it a highly sensitive topic? So very, very real. I think that is also one of the things that need to be part of the financial literacy to the adults, to the parents, to give them the awareness that really their kids do know a lot more than they think they know, and that this empowerment needs to happen. So thank you for that comment.
Totally, I think that is again very critical. So I can see that Nisreen is also typing an answer. Great, thank you, Nisreen, and please keep the questions coming in, and of course request the guests and the experts to answer as you feel best. Yeah. Yes, Marnosh, you have your hand up. Please do comment.
Thank you, Karen. It's really interesting how the financial literacy is being discussed over here as a problem or a challenge for the low resource community. But what I want to highlight here is that it's not just across the low resource community. And I think this also has come up, even what Tanuj mentioned. If we just draw parallels over here, maybe a low resource community may have money in the dabba. And for a high earning individual also, that dabba is represented by a savings bank account. There are so many people who are earning well and their money is lying unutilized, not working for them by just keeping it in the savings bank account. Now, there are multiple things operating over here, but the basic thing is the financial literacy. They're not even aware. I know in 2015, there was a survey done by SEBI where the awareness about the products itself is not there. People think, acha, money hai, so savings mein itna ho gaya, above a certain amount, we can then put it in an FD. That's it. Or maybe LIC policies are there. And that is where you are not making your money work for you. The entire mindset needs to change towards money is just as important a resource as time is, as energy is. And how do we utilize all of that? We are probably work on time management, but who works on money management? There are people who work on energy management, wellness, fitness, exercise. They know we have to go to a doctor if there is something wrong with us, we need some checkup. People know the awareness about taking a health checkup. And I'm talking awareness. I don't know how many actually do that. That may be a lower percentage. But a health checkup, people know that, yeah, they need to do it. But how many people are aware that they need to do a financial health checkup as well? Are your money working for you for the right kind of goals so that you have them available when you need them? And that is something that is a larger perspective that we can discuss, and not only discuss, the question is, what do we do about it? There are a lot of experts over here among all of us, and even among the audience. I would not distinguish only us over here as experts and the rest are not. Each one of us are here in this session because we truly care about this cause, about spreading financial literacy. I think if each of us can even solemnly pledge to make even 1,000 people financially literate, I think we can start making that change. And I think it's really great that we have sponsors like Tata Capital and Dhan Gyan platform is there. Each of us can reach out. When we talk about reaching out to the masses, even among the regional language speaking people, what can we do so that we can reach out to people, even forget 1,000, whoever you can reach out to, even if you make a difference in one person's life, it's a difference that you have made.
So true, so true. No, absolutely. What did you say is absolutely right. And we need to use our influence. I think everybody, and I think Minal also was talking about it, we need to use our spheres of influence to the degree possible. I'm sorry, I put my missing off by saying, yeah, to the degree possible for us to really change that situation and the status quo, no matter which level of society or which situation each one of us, because it is also our situations that can really drive us into very, very difficult moments financially, right? And so that also matters a lot, absolutely, on that front.
Yeah, and I just want to add here, Marinush, this is not just a regional problem. This is a global problem. It's not like the people in the US. I had a discussion with my friend just last week saying, she's telling me I have $200,000 sitting in the bank. And I go, what? Earning 0.01%? Like, you worked so hard for the $200,000. Can you make that money now work for you? Because it's possible. So I with you, totally with you.
And like you rightly said, it is not about earning money. It is that, and it's not even about education, right? It's simply financial literacy is something that even the so-called exposed, the so-called educated, the so-called aware people also would not know a lot of things. And so I think it is required across all segments of society, but of course there are certain other compulsions that come in the way of different target audiences and segments. So we need to work with all of them over there. We are moving towards the latter half of this thing. We didn't even realize, but we've already spent more than an hour talking. Did anybody realize over here that we've been chatting for an hour now? I doubt it, right? Because I think we are all learning so much from each other, and I think that's so critical, right? Because this is not, the roundtable is not just about talking about what I am doing and what I am going to do, but it's about what we all need to do. And so I think it's amazing how quickly time flies in the roundtable. And many people tell me that 2 hours is too long. People will not wait. People will not stay. But as you can see, everybody is very much over here and so in the sense, I'm so sorry, some of the challenges of work from home, right? So, so this is really great. And so I just want to start nudging our way into the capabilities and the collaboration piece, right? As we kind of go ahead, we have been talking about some amount of capabilities with good examples of what people are doing in different parts of the world, but maybe we'll start getting into it more and more. And those of you who have offered to collaborate with us, to take financial literacy to all parts of the world, and of course definitely India, all parts of India for sure, then please do let us know what are your ideas, because that's exactly what we want to talk about, is what are those ideas by which we could work together and kind of look at how to take financial literacy to more and more people that need it, right from students to adults to women to even senior citizens who unfortunately lose their life earning because they don't know what to do and how to kind of take care of it and make that money work for them, the way Hamida just mentioned, right? You need to make your money work for you, right? So one is the lack of money, the other is the what should I say, laziness of money. I don't know, I just came up with that right away, so I hope it didn't sound corny, but I really think that's true, right? Lazy money, having lack of money and lazy money where it's not working for you. So I think that's again something that is really important. So Nisreen, you want
Karen, also before we go ahead, I do want to let people know that everything that we are discussing here is not just a discussion. This is all going to go in a white paper and we are going to do something about it. So it's not one of those, let's have a conversation and then forget all about it. And so in that regard, before we move on, of course, this is not all inclusive, but I've got a few points here that we already discussed about just to bring it together, right? For challenges, it's we need to create awareness of financial literacy. There are lack of devices and networks. We need to do stuff in regional languages, so we reach out to every single person. There is shark lending that is rampant. Need to get folks in lower strata to get their savings from dabbas to banks. And also everyone needs to make their money work for them. So that's just a few things, and then we put it all together in the white paper. So go on, Karen.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hamida. That so helps to bring our thoughts together in a more cohesive manner. So thank you very much for making that happen. Nisreen, yes, as I said, you did want to come in with some suggestions. So yeah, over to you. And then Kathy, definitely you next, please.
So basically, what we spoke about earlier, when Hamida mentioned this, $200,000 lying in the bank. I had an investor recently who had nearly a 60 lakhs lying in the bank. I think it's more to do with inertia and also fear of losing the money. So, that's where the financial literacy part has a very big role to play, is because you don't know what to do, or you're fearful of the options available to you. That's one of the reasons where the inertia sets in. So I just wanted to speak about a few very simple ideas and suggestions that we at MoneyWorks have been following in the last so many years. Is that we realize that, for the lower income strata, what Karen mentioned, that, your domestic staff, your drivers, your security, the servants which come to your building every day, the part-time workers, they do not even have a PAN card. So since we are a PAN, registering agency ourselves, the first thing that we start for them is, if they don't have an Aadhaar linked address, we ask them to get the Aadhaar. Then we apply for the PAN for them, and any of us can do that. I mean, you don't have to be the agency yourself. You can just, show them the direction to the nearest PAN office and get the PAN. That's a very important document which you need to, even for a very simple thing like a bank account. A bank account can be opened without a PAN, but it's good to have a PAN. Secondly, the post offices now will be operating as a bank, which was recently shared in the last budget. So, they are all very comfortable with visiting a post office. So you can open a bank account even through a post office in the coming months, but any public sector bank will open an account and also give you access to to a very simple medical insurance or a life insurance policy at a very, very low premium, which is provided by the Pradhan Mantri, schemes. Secondly, what we have been doing at our level is also having these small Tupperware-like events, where we invite women of any income strata, whether it is the domestic staff, or even people belonging to, higher income groups, ladies who are not working, but are saving part of their monthly household budget. And they would like to keep that aside for their own requirements, or even to help their own aged parents, or to maybe want to keep aside a little education plan for their child, which the aspiration that they have, which they feel cannot be met by the family income. And in these small events, which will be attended by, say, 8 to 10 ladies, at anyone's home, a small tea party, or just, basic tea and biscuit kind of an event, where me and my team have been taking them through the various savings and investment options, which can be started with monthly SIPs of even as low as 100 rupees per month. Okay. And another thing that we have been doing is associating with schools in our neighborhood to conduct workshops for children. So this is something that Meenal spoke about earlier on the chat. And I wanted to add on that these small workshops for different age groups, starting even from the fifth grade onwards. So this has really helped, because the children do understand they get either a daily allowance for food, etc., or for slightly older children, they get a monthly allowance. Or some children are even getting a little bit of money for helping for chores around the house, which happened in the COVID time. I found a lot of parents are saying, okay, take a little bit of money and help me for household chores, washing the car, whatever the other staff was not available. So this kind of teaching how to save and buy yourself an item that you want, say 6 months down the line or 12 months down the line. Don't ask your parents. So these very simple, effective ideas have helped me and my team, and even the people that I've spoken to. I found that it resonated and they were able to implement it easily. So I thought I'd just share this.
Great, thank you very much. I think yes, makes a lot of sense, Nisreen, and thank you for answering the questions in the Q&A for us as well. I think it's really important. So I would again request, the other experts, even if it's answered and you want to answer further to that, please feel free to do that, because I think multiple answers, no knowledge is ever wasted, and different perspectives are always welcome, right? So please look at the Q&A and please answer those questions as well. Yeah, great, Alpak.
Karen, I do want to read out one comment that came in the Q&A, and that's not that we can immediately answer this, but it's something that we need to keep in mind, that when we talk about financial literacy, we've talked about the ones who need it, the ones who are rich and don't know how to use the money, but there is also this strata in society who want to do something for others but don't have the financial, not wherewithal. It's not about having the finances, it's having the financial knowledge on how to go about it. And she says, Sonam says, I want to start a livelihood initiative in my rural village. Women here are all domestic workers. I want to set up a skill development center where they can learn tailoring, stitching, etc. But I have very less knowledge of finances, nor do I have the funds, of course. What advice would you give? So not looking for advice yet, but just putting it out there that there are these kinds of people who need financial literacy as well.
Yeah, and you know, we are trying from IDOBRA and Rise Infinity Foundation. We keep having capacity building workshops, and which is why we also have capacity building workshops at the Rise World Summit as well, because we understand these issues. And while our attempt may not be very large, and maybe we are doing just touching, you know, the tip of the iceberg in terms of the problem, hopefully we're making some strides. So please connect with us, and you know, keep a watch sort of for the training programs that we have, and maybe we can still look at how to tailor make something that can help, you know, specific groups as well. Yeah, so thank you for bringing that to our notice, Hamida. That's great. I'm going to ask Alpa to talk first because she has not yet spoken, and we do want to get as many voices in, and have this conversation as diverse as possible. So Alpa, over to you.
Thank you. First of all, Karen, you are doing a commendable work. And I think Hamida and Dipali, both of you are doing such a beautiful initiative you've taken. It's pleasure to listen to so many speakers. I mean, Kathy, Nasreen, I really respect them, the kind of work they do. And of course, Tanuj and all the other speakers have literally spoken what I wanted to convey. But personally, I would suggest that for-profit and non-for-profit, both the organizations I'm leading, and I completely understand the collaboration and the challenges which we all are talking about. 50% of our country population is women. And they really, really need lot of encouragement. And finally, everything which stops at is, I think, money, you know, somewhere or the other, money really play a very important role. So yes, youth, women, and even the livelihood, which we all are discussing, is quite connected, and education. So for collaboration, two things I would definitely like to mention here is that we have investor awareness program budget, and we do plenty of programs with that BFSI sector budget, which we all have. And of course, the CSR budget. So my NGO has ATG, FCRA, everything in place. We can get a lot of CSR budget and fundings for empowering all the lower strata income group people. So I'm so glad to announce here that all the government schemes, etc., have been definitely percolated to maids, dabbawalas, even sex workers. We work very closely. The third gender we work very, very closely with. And I think even social welfare board collaboration with skill development and government departments too, we are working very closely with. And Mahila Bachat Gards and all these community people can get great benefits with the help of this financial literacy program and the budgets which are already there. We just have to execute it, and we just have to do it.
Absolutely.
So I think it's a commendable thing. Yeah.
I think, Alpa, that's a great point to bring out, that there is a lot of CSR budget that is available. And of course, you know, there are multiple issues that are there, but some issues are cross-cutting across every single thing. And definitely finance is one of those things. So I think it'll be good to see more and more corporates come in, you know, given support and backup initiatives that will promote financial literacy, financial awareness, and of course, financial inclusion, because all three are very different. And this is the sad part, right? We don't tend to realize this because we try to talk of all three in one breath. But the honest fact is they're three very, very different things: creating financial awareness, creating financial literacy, and then financial inclusion. And I think financial inclusion, while it has a lot of spotlight on it, it'll never be possible unless you have financial awareness and you have financial literacy for as proceeding to that. So thank you very much for bringing up that point, Alpa. Makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Kathy, yes, over to you. And then, of course, Dr. Seer as well. Yeah, please.
So yes, as Alpa rightly pointed out, what I wanted to say. Thank you, Alpa, for pointing that out so well. So I think you know, everything. I mean, if you look at the government programs, government is also very serious about spreading financial literacy. So those things already exist. All that we need to do as a community is how can we make it more executable, that, you know, we can take it to different strata, different regions, different communities. I mean, as a community together, how can we take this entire thing ahead? And there are two things. One is, of course, starting, at the very basic level, like, ensuring that we starting to use the school infrastructure and teach the future of India, how to manage their money. And second thing is having more and more number of financial literacy camps across the country to spread financial literacy for people who are, still not able to take that education. But more importantly, creating a content which people can relate to. That is something which is very, very important. So for women, like a single woman, there are different challenges. For a women who living in the family, there are different set of challenges that they're facing. We need to teach them differently how to manage money. Working women but single, working women but living with family, how to design your will, why is it important? When I talk about the middle level strata of the society, it's again, they're earning very well. Now, simple thing, like when you talk to them about medical insurance, they'll tell you, we already have a corporate insurance, we don't need. So simple thing like, adding a top up to your particular portfolio will cost you very little, probably 2 weekends of your expenses, but it will save you from a disaster or from you losing your assets to medical emergency. So if we can create these different kind of modules, and with the help of the government, with the help of social and women empowerment division of government, if we can take that to different sections of the society, we just need to start somewhere. And 5 years down the line, when we'll be again talking in this summit, we'll see that, yes, this is how far we have reached.
Great. Thank you. Yes, having vision is so important, right? In terms of execution, as Sarush had said in the beginning, that execution is the key to implementing good ideas. But along with that, you require vision to try and kind of drive that execution moving forward. So thank you very much, Kathy, for bringing that up. And yes, Minal, over to you, please. Unmute. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I great points here. The thing is about firepower, and it is corporates, actually large corporates, financial corporates, okay, that can actually drive this message home and actually make that difference. Whilst each of us in our own capacities, and our capacities are finite, because we are small entrepreneurs, right? So whilst we do, like Anushreen was mentioning, we do it with 5 women, or we do it with our security staff, or whoever, the snowballing effect, if there is a macro initiative which makes financial literacy and awareness look sexy, all right, just like how going digital, the government with the help of Geo, good and bad, I'm not talking about, but why is there today even our panwalas and our nukkad shops who are able to do Google Pay? Why? Because the government intervened with the help of a Geo to talk about connectivity. So similarly, are there companies who are putting some of their budget seriously, making it look like really a non-CSR activity, all right, to say that this is what we are going to do and drive. And if they are the ones who've got the financial wherewithal, they are the ones who are sustainable over long term, right? They're the ones who can create impact, can actually invest in advertising and marketing. Then we will say that there is government taking a part. Then we can say that these are organizations that over and above selling their mutual funds, etc., are doing things for the general good of the public and for growth. We do need corporate incentive for financial literacy, and we need to be vocal about it, and we need to make it, like I said, good and glamorous. That's what we also need, in addition to all the little pieces of work that each of us are doing, or most of us are doing here.
I really like that. Make it glamorous. Minal, you always say it the way it is, flat and straight. But, I think that's so true. Somewhere, unfortunately, there is this fear of finance, right? Oh, I don't understand numbers. Money is not for me, and I think that's the other thing that came out when we were talking in the pre-event thing, that again, go back to the social behavior change, that there's so much of discipline around it. When you have to start working with money, there is a certain amount of discipline you need to put into place. Like somebody, Alpa, I think, put in the chat box, that even if you delay your work by delay your savings by 5 years, it impacts your wealth almost 50%, which is the power of compounding. And who would think it? Where is 5% and invest 50%. I mean, you just don't seem to see the relation between those two numbers, right? But that is the amazing part of it. And as you said, Minal, if you don't make it glamorous, that, knowing finance is not just about elitist. I think there's a slight difference between elitist and glamour, which is why I love the word glamour much, much better over here, that it has to be made attractive. It has to be made like, it's not just about a need to do, because again, most people shy away. The minute, like if anybody told me about weight loss, I would say, yes, I know I need to do it, but I'm not going to do it, right? I don't, right? So it's something like that, right? We know what we need to do, but we don't do it. That's human nature, human behavior, social behavior, whatever you want to call it, right? But when you make it glamorous, I know I would like to be glamorous. I know I'm not, but I'm just joking, but that's the truth, right? You want to be able to make people understand their aspirations can be met if they are willing to put in that additional effort to understand these things. And so thank you for bringing that out, Minal. That was amazing. Great. Kamal, over to you. And Dr. Shir, I've not forgotten you. I will be bringing you in very, very shortly.
Thank
Yes,
you
Kamal,
so
very
much.
quickly. Yes, very quickly.
Yeah, so I just saw one query. The question was by Vinita Sankani. It said about that, we experience that mistrust among uneducated when we try to create a financial awareness about the financial literacy. I would like to say it's not about just uneducated. Even educated people may not trust. Okay, and I'll probably, the reason which I have seen is whenever I do my sessions, at the end of it, I do ask for feedback. That what did you find different in this? And the typical feedback which I have received is that, sir, I have attended financial literacy session earlier also, but this was different because till now, whenever we have attended a session, they just talk about a particular product. So if the session is in corporate, they talk about mutual fund. And if the session is in Ganpati, Pandal, or these kind of festivals, they talk about the LIC policies. So it is the person who is coming and doing a session. If any kind of motive is there, after that, once the people attend a session and say, okay, fine, this person is going to anyways sell me something, the trust would not be developed. So if we can, all of us, if we commit that we should be sharing holistic knowledge, either don't talk about the products, or if you are talking about the product, like, I do talk about the product, then you should be talking about both the products. You should be talking about secured. You should be talking about the with risk. You should be talking about the needs. You should be talking about the wants. You should be talking about the basic thing, and you should be talking about the lifestyle. You should be talking about the aspiration. That for aspirations, you can definitely take a risk, and you should take a risk. Okay, go for risky instruments. When we talk about aspiration, because there you have that power. But when it comes to need, okay, when income in terms of needs, you should not be taking that much risk that, if the market is down, you don't have food to eat. That should not be done. So it has to be a mix of both the products, or don't talk about the products. So that's from my side. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Kamal. I just want to very quickly also recognize all our special guests who are here with us and who have been a little quiet, but also want to tell them that it's going to be 1 o'clock and we have only half an hour remaining. So if you can please do come in, at this point would be really awesome. We do have with us Beroz, who's the chairperson of SANI. So definitely would be great to have her to say a few words. Dr. Girija Deshpande, who's a Rotarian and an ANA core committee member, so I would really wait and see if there are anybody else over here who's there as a special guest. Please do come in and say your piece, because we are very eager to hear from all of you. Yeah. And of course, as I said, just put your hand up and I'm happy to bring you into the conversation. Great. Awesome. There's some more questions in the Q&A, and I'd like if someone can look at them and also kind of, answer them. As I said, again, I'm saying this, even those that are answered, please do, I would ask all the experts, please take a look at them. And if you feel you would like to give your special perspective to those questions, do go ahead and, answer them as well. Yeah. but keep the Q&A going, and also, of course, keep the answers going, actually. So let's go there. Right. Yes, Dr. Peer, as I said, haven't forgotten you, and please go for it. Yeah.
Okay. Though Alpha and somebody else already answered this question, somebody had asked this question about how to start this skill center or something in their local communities. Alpha briefly answered this question by saying that there are schemes and available in the government, as well as you have corporate sector is also pitching in supporting such initiatives. I would like to briefly say, Ministry of Skill Development has this scheme called Prime Minister Kaushal Vikas Yojana, PMKVY, and then there is DDGKY, there are Hunar Se Rozgar, and many other schemes. Social Welfare Department also have skill development schemes. They can approach to the local office. For example, they can go to local skill development mission office in the state or in respective UTs, apply for this center. This is a very easy process, and they can be provided money to implement and run the skill development centers, right? For example, I have established around 200 plus centers when I was a mission director. So all the states do that, and in the villages and communities, and in fact in the block levels, there are skill development centers which can be done, and money is not a issue here. It is just it needs a little bit of effort, and you need to have an idea which skill courses are to be imparted in which areas, and build the requisite infrastructure, and that's it. Thank you.
So I would just like to add here, Dr. Peer, that there is a scheme called Sukanya Samriddhi scheme under Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. No girl child can be a burden if you educate her and if you invest for her. So when she's 21 years old, you will get close to 75 lakhs rupees. She can start her own business. She can be an entrepreneur. So we are talking about livelihoods here. And this is government guaranteed scheme. There are so many other things which I would love to, educate people on through our NGO and through our hard work in financial literacy space, specifically for government schemes. Absolutely. And for the lower strata income group people.
Very true, no doubt about it. There are a lot of schemes and people need to know about them, because it could definitely help in multiple ways to not only spread financial literacy, but also empower in different manners. So thank you so much for bringing that up, both Dr. Peer and Alpha. We also have with us Naresh Karmakar, one of our co-committee members, and being with us right from day one with the Rise World Summit. So Naresh, if you'd like to come in and say a few words, please go ahead. Sorry, I've moved Naresh to the panelist. Naresh, are you in, or you could speak? Okay.
Karen, once you're bringing narration, can I keep this moving?
Please go ahead.
So I think we've done a lot of discussion on capabilities as well. Again, just bringing it together. Here are some points, not all inclusive, but here they are. Having small events, vision is important. There is firepower right here, right now. Let's use that. Need to have a macro initiative, need corporate incentive, need government incentive. Literacy should be simple and glamorous. And there are lots of schemes out there. We just need to get it to the population that need those schemes, right? So these are some of the few really good points that have come out. We do have half an hour left. We want to talk about collaboration, because that, of course, and execution. So let's do collaboration and execution together, because we don't have the time to talk about them separately. And I think that is really the big point here. So yes, we know what the challenges are. We know what we need to do. How can we get that done, which is most important. So over to you, Mr. Naresh, and then we'll start talking about collaboration and execution.
Thank you. Actually, I refused the request to be a panelist because I really feel like a fish out of water. This is really not my topic, but I'm absolutely. I'm loving the points that are being put out here. Like one point I put on the chat is the fact the need to make finance simple. Even I get petrified with accounts and this, and I can imagine how difficult it is. And I think if that's what Alpa and everybody are doing in terms of making financial literacy have that simplicity built in, People can find that it's simple, and it's actually it's a habit forming thing we need to push at. Saving is a habit, and even keeping accounts is a habit, which I'm still trying to get used to. I would just like to end. I don't want to really take time from the experts on the panel. I just came across, this is almost 20 years ago that I came across this model in Nepal. It was being run by PACT, and it was called the Women's Empowerment Project. And it was actually a 3-stage process where they were starting with, and they were starting with 15,000 women. And they started with the first, intervention was basic literacy. Then I think they were getting to financial literacy, and the final aim was to get them to start micro enterprises. And it was difficult to get the first 5,000, 10,000 women, but they used this very empowering process called appreciative inquiry, and it's absolutely, it is phenomenal. They found that just by putting those questions into the monitoring that they were doing, they started asking about enterprise, micro enterprises, and businesses from the first monitoring exercise they started doing. And the question was, have you started your business? So have you started your business? Or what is the business? Rather, what is the business you have started? And it took on like wildfire. They found the women actually started businesses even before they came to the third intervention. And that 15,000 initial thing grew to 450,000 women. And this project was, I'm sorry, it's known also as the Worth Project, and it was replicated in Africa post that. So it's a great case study for all of us to say, how did that happen? And this empowerment, which many people spoke about, I think empowerment is the basis of it. Get ladies, women especially, to believe that, they can not only save, but they can be income producers, and, they can become entrepreneurs. And I think that can be revolutionary. Sorry, that does it. My 2 minutes. Thank you so much. You can take me off from a panelist.
No, thank you so much, Naresh. I think your perspectives of global perspectives and experience definitely makes a big difference to sharing models and frameworks that have been successful in other parts of the world. And we need to learn from each other, because while we also have a lot of good success stories, we also have a lot of gaps and weaknesses. So the more you learn, the more you're open to new ideas, and that's exactly what the Rise World Summit tries to do, is evolving solutions that allow you to kind of find out new perspectives, right? So thank you very much for adding to that. And as Hamida mentioned, we're coming almost to a close on our how quickly does 2 hours pass? I can't believe it, right? So I would definitely say that anyone who's not yet had the opportunity to say something or post something, well, your time starts now. Otherwise, forever hold your peace. Yeah. So do please, because we want to hear from as many people as possible, and make sure that everybody gets a voice in some format or in some way or the other.
Karen, before we move on, there is this really good comment in the chat, and again, I'm putting it out there. There's nothing we can do about it right now, but it is also something to keep in the back of our mind. And it's Sundar who says, we are speaking about all of these many things regarding finance, but now the world is even moving on beyond that to digital currency like cryptocurrency and bitcoins. And he's just afraid that we are talking about the basics, whereas the world is moving on to a whole different level, and the gap between the two is going to be so wide that it's going to be unmanageable. And I think that's a very great point, Sundar. Thank you for bringing it up. Back to you, Karen.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Hamida. And very true. I mean, that gap has been increasing and increasing, and we all know that. And the solution is right here: financial literacy, financial awareness, and then financial inclusion. Girija, over to you. You did want to say a few words, and we're happy to hear from you. Please.
Yeah. Just a brief point. When we are talking about the several government interventions, we all know that we know the intent is good. We have, for the first time, so many good programs that have reached out to women, the deprived sections, different kind of programs. And many of the women are not even aware of the program. But the problem is, when we talk about these, just like Kamal was talking about how there is lack of trust. When you talk about these programs, then people are saying like, "Ab BJP का supporter है क्या? इसलिए उसके बारे में बात करते हैं." You are talking about the program because you belong to a political party. So again, trusting the intent of the people is very important. So it is very important to not to connect it with any government but say such programs are available. Probably you did not know about it. It is very important not to talk about any political party when these people go and talk, so that the women at home, when they go home and tell the men, they are not allowed to invest. They are so told, no, 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 ye party ka ye program hai, humko nahi karna hai. This I've heard. That's why I'm talking about it. So this is very important, not to talk about the political party that is introduced it, but rather how it benefits. That is one. And then another section is also about widowed women. Women who have lost their husbands, probably they may not have much support. So is there anything separately that could be done for them? That is one thing that we could look at. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Girija. I think what an important point to separate schemes from government. We tend to always use the word together, government schemes, right? Which is true. They are released by government, but not necessarily that they are the government, right? In that sense,
exactly.
that because you like the government, or it's not about political interest, but it's really about it is really about the program benefit that we need to focus on, and which will make all the difference. So thank you for pointing that out. I think it's such a critical point, right? We also have with us Manoj Chanda, who's the head of fee regulation body, Maharashtra State. Would be really great to hear from him. Manoj, are you here? I know that you were there, but can we see Manoj? Is he in the attendee by any chance, by mistake?
No, no. He has message. He has to go for a meeting.
Oh, I see. Okay, okay.
Okay.
Fair enough. Deepali, why don't you, since you're anyway on just now, why don't you talk a little bit about the Youth Ambassador Program? You've been very quiet. So go ahead. Yeah, please.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Karen, and all the experts for such a meaningful conversation and engagement. So when we are speaking about collaboration, and I'm so happy to see a lot of people are, want to collaborate and be a part of this movement that we want to carry out through Tata's program Dhangyan. So we have curated this pan-India level youth ambassador program, which you can go and see it on social tab, where you will get all the description. So we are inviting all of you who have been working with youth to make this program a successful program. All the qualification terms and conditions, everything is given in that youth ambassador program flyer and in that PDF file. I'll just share the objective of doing this program. So why we are doing it? It is on the segment 1, that we are facing a lot of challenges in the implementation. So we want to rule out that challenge and make and also to make a point that Meher made, and we also withstand it, and that's why that program is there, that we want to catch them young. So we want all the youth to be there, and it will be a kind of an effect on other youth. When we are allowing that youth to be a leader, he automatically brings out more youth to be part of this program. So please go at the social tab and there is a social button on the main community page. Click there, you will see many announcements in that there is a youth ambassador program. Please feel free to go through. My number is there. I'll put my email address also. And please do call me and do email me for this collaboration. Looking forward. Thank you so much, Karen.
Great. Thank you, Deepali. A very concrete way forward for us all over here on the table. And I hope that many of you will take up that offer. Yeah. We also have with us Dolly. Dolly Dolly Damodiwala, who has been as part of the financial sector for decades, in fact, and has got such phenomenal experience, especially working with women. Dolly, can I have you? You've been very quiet too.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can't put my video on.
Oh, I sent you an invite to move you to.
Yeah, I said yes to the invite, but I have put it on unmute. Yeah, join as panelist.
Right.
Can you?
Okay, I think she will be quickly joining us as a panelist, and then we can definitely see her. Thank you, Marinoj. Great. We will absolutely want you to be a part of the Youth Ambassador program, and we'll have you here. Yeah. Yes, Dolly, over to you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Dolly, we can hear you. Why don't you go ahead?
I'll start my video now.
Yes.
Okay. I was just trying to say that since I have been helping women entrepreneurs and also women in the micro sector, why can't we try to collaborate with why can't we try to collaborate with some small enterprises in not non-Bombay or outskirts of Bombay, or in small villages and in towns, small towns, where there are so many men who are employed in small factories, but the women over there would like to do something in their spare time. So we want to create financial literacy and empower them, and I try to propagate and create awareness about all the government schemes, even at the micro level, as you know, for startups also, as well as for women entrepreneurs. So let us deepen our reach in the small towns through the help of collaboration with corporates who have factories there. Like I have a friend who has a factory in Palghar, and she has done some development of that area for women who can increase and add to their household income.
Oh, wow, that is a great suggestion,
Why
Dolly.
can't
Thank
we,
you.
you can take the example of Godrej, how they have developed Vikhroli. They didn't concentrate only on their factories. They concentrated on everything, education, health, everything for the families of their employees and even others who are in Vikhroli.
Great. Thank you, Dolly.
That's
I
a great.
think
Why should we not collaborate, even not at the very high level, even at the medium?
Dolly, can I just add one thing over here? That Asian Paints and our NGO Freedom Foundation in collaboration did the same thing for their factory people on financial literacy, especially the contract painters, and in 13 different languages, that too on videos and digital form. So this is how CSR budget, the entire CSR budget was utilized only for them.
So these are great examples, and exactly what we look at in the both the in the capabilities and in the collaboration moving forward. So I'm really sorry again. People keep challenging us that 2 hours is too long, but we have seen that 2 hours is not enough, because the conversation actually just gets heated up almost when you're coming towards the end. People really get into that mood. But I'm really sorry to say we are coming to the end, and we have a very special guest with us, Miss Anna Lukwell, who's the Sweden Consul General in Mumbai, and who we will be hearing from very shortly. But Anna, just before we hand over to you and Deepali introduces you, we do want to quickly maybe wrap up this session to kind of also sum it up. And I think I'm going to let Hamida, the expert, do that more than me, so that we can quickly get a sense of what has been, what we have really achieved over here, what have we really spoken about, and what could be that way forward. And then, of course, would love to hear from you, Anna. So thank you very much for making that time. Hamida, over to you.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, everyone. There is surely firepower in this in this roundtable. I deeply hope that we can continue with this firepower, use it. As far as collaboration and execution is concerned, I am sorry. I think we fell short. We either didn't have the time, or we didn't have enough people here to talk about it. Dolly came up with a great point, also separating schemes from the government, definitely a good thing, but I was looking for real collaboration kind of ideas, which probably, Karen, we can put. We know we need to talk about that, so we can have that as an agenda for the next roundtable.
And I think, Hamida, the whole idea is it doesn't stop here, right? This
Exactly.
is the point of that conversation. So I think this conversation will continue. Deepali will be the point of contact. She's been managing this, leading this. So she will share her contact details on the chat box. So the conversation is not over. Okay, picture abhi baki hai dost.
I love this. This is just a conversation starter. Absolutely.
Right,
We definitely need to have more conversations, and not only conversations, but of course execution as well.
Action as well. Absolutely. Yes.
So thank you everyone for being here. There have been some requests, Karen, from people on the chat to say, can you send us a PDF of the chat? I don't know if that's something that we can do, but if we can do, that's great, because there are numbers and everything that people have exchanged with each other. So great thing if we can do that. But I feel like we can end this and
Yeah.
move.
Absolutely. I think definitely it's not about the PDF. We will actually be having a proper report of this, which will be sent to everyone who has attended the roundtable. Plus, it will be up on the website. So you will definitely get that information. One last thing I wanted to say before we close, we do have a Rise Pico community on LinkedIn, which of course we will talk about later on, but, do join us there. The other is about the SDGs, because as I said, the whole summit is focused on the SDGs and the interlinkages with that. So I think, understanding how this impacts all the SDGs right across is so very critical, and that's what I do want to also make everybody kind of think a little bit about and look at them. And in your mind, I really don't even want to say that we need to talk about it, obviously, because we don't even have the time, but I do want to kind of like I said, show that to you, because I feel it's so important for us to just remember this, that this is the core and the reason why we are over here, and what are we doing in that sense, right? So I'm just going to show that very quickly on my screen, because I do want it to sink into everybody's thoughts and ideas and plans for action going forward as we go there, and then have a look at that from that point of view. So very quickly sharing my screen.
And Karen, while you're doing that, I want to draw everybody's attention to a LinkedIn group link that is in the chat, which you can just click and be part of right now, because that is the exclusive LinkedIn group for collaborations as well.
Thank you so much, Amita. So as I said, finance affects every single one of these, right? Every single, right from no poverty down to partnerships of the goals. Without us kind of, pooling our resources and leveraging our strengths, we are not going to be able to make financial literacy a reality. And so every single thing over here definitely affects the SDGs. And I do hope all of us will keep that in mind as we keep moving ahead in our work and designing of our interventions and plans and programs. Over to you, Deepali, and thank you all once again very, very much for this awesome conversation. Deepali?
Yes, thank you so much, Karen and Hamida, for engaging and having this meaningful conversation with our experts. Now it's my privilege to introduce Anna. Anna Lekwal is the Consul General of Sweden in Mumbai, India. Anna has over 20 years of experience in international development and democracy. She has held position at the Swedish mission to the United Nations, the Embassy of Uganda, the Swedish Export Credit Agency, and the Swedish International Development Agency, and has served as the executive director for the Institute for the Democracy and Dialogue of Freischutz. I am sorry for the pronunciation again if it's wrong. As program manager at International IDEA, and before taking up this post, she was assigned to to start a new government initiative, the Swedish Center for Preventing Violent Extremism. And I specialized on international economics and development, democracy, diversity, and human rights. In 2007, she was granted the Jonas Weiss Memorial Award for her work within the Juba peace process. She holds BA in International Economics and Gothenburg School of Business, Economics, and Law, and master's degree in democratic development from the University of Uppsala. Apart from her, I really like her aura and presence around. So thank you, Anna, for joining us. Stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Deepali. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And Karen, and thank you all panelists here. It's really an honor for me to also participate here towards the end and say a few words from our end. I did catch a little bit. I was participating for the past half hour, so I could at least capture a little bit of the conversation here, and I find it very, very encouraging. It's such a great spirit and such important topic that you're discussing today. But let me start with a few words for those of you who don't know Sweden very well, and what we do here as the consulate. Specifically on the gender and sustainability development goals. Sweden's and Swedish government is a very committed engager in all of the UN processes, but not least the sustainable development goals. I was actually, in fact, working in the UN when we when we developed the first millennium goals that preceded the Sustainable Development Goals. And it's been absolutely fantastic to see what an impact these goals have had across the world, and to focus attention and focus engagement on, and really producing results. Now, we've had a challenging pandemic that may have put us back on a couple of fronts, but with the kind of engagement I'm hearing today, I'm sure we will quickly reverse that. On gender, Sweden, it's a top priority, gender equality and engaging to empower women in all its aspects, in terms of representation, in terms of resources, and in the workforce, as well as protection against violence, etc., is really at the core of our engagements. It's a top priority. Sweden is the first country in the world to have a feminist foreign policy, which means basically it's my job to really every day and in many ways promote and protect women's rights in many ways, and raise these issues. So, and that's a fantastic privilege to have to be able to do that. As the consulate here in Western India in Mumbai, we have been engaging with many civil society engagements. We engage with all the Swedish companies. I was in fact coming right now from a meeting with 20 Swedish companies that are joined together in a task force to develop and gender sensitize their workforce, for example. And many initiatives. This one on financial literacy and the RISE Summit at large, which we're of course engaging with and supporting, important way to collaborate on SDGs overall. But just a few words on this financial literacy, which you were so focusing in on today, which is really a key. And I'm so, it's such inspiring and important to see that you're focusing in on this, because it's exactly as you've all been mentioning. If you need that, it really, that financial literacy really puts women behind. And 70%, I'm not sure if you've already gone through this, but 70% of people who have no access to financial services are women. And I think I won't say the figure, which I don't remember right now, but I mean and that really sets you on a negative path instead of the opportunities that you were mentioning. Women are entrepreneurs. They are contributing to economy, they're contributing to society as soon as they get the means and the possibilities to do so. And that has huge opportunities for the economy and for the society and the welfare. So of course, this is a very important part. And Sweden, maybe you mentioned this already, Karen, but I was very happy to see that the Swedish Institute has this sustainability forum from 2016 and launched a financial education campaign for women in collaboration with the International Integrated Reporting Council and the Center for Responsible Business in India, and with input from Mistra Financial Systems. I was very delighted to see this, and I know you're building on this in all your work. So we're very happy to be part. It's very encouraging to hear all the discussions today and the focus on this issue and how we can build that. And we're really proud and support that we have a connection to this from the Swedish and the wonderful Swedish alumni, which I must congratulate again for being selected as the best alumni network in the world last year. The India-Swedish Alumni Network is the most active and engaging and very much working with SDGs in many ways. Yes, fantastic. We're very proud. And it is an amazing team behind. So with all of those little words, I just really congratulate you on an amazing session and such an important topic. And I really hope you are all inspired and feel the support and the connection to take it forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Anna. Really wonderful and means a lot to us to have you with us. Thank you.
Always.
Thank you, Anna.